Hello everyone, I'm so happy you're here today. We're going to be making this fun pop-up explosion flower bouquet card, and it is definitely a wow. So here's the front. I'm using the fresh freesia, and then the inside. Hi Stampers, this is Dawn, and today we're going to be making this amazing pop-up card that has a bouquet of flowers on the inside that it just explodes right when you open it. Look at this. Isn't that awesome? And then I made this one using the pale papaya. This one is using the fresh freesia. So let me show you this one. So now this one, I colored the copy paper to match the pale papaya. Isn't it pretty? But we're going to be making the fresh freesia one today. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Let me give you all the measurements for today's card. We are using the basic white. This is cut at 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. Now I'm going to be using the Pansy Petals designer paper, and this is the fresh freesia side, but the pale papaya is also in that collection of the 12 by 12 paper. Let me show you that one again. Here's the pale papaya. And I think there's one with the soft succulent with the houndstooth or the gingham kind of background there. I love it. So this piece is cut at 3 by 4.5. And then your fresh freesia is cut at 3 1/4 by 4 3/4. Then I'm going to use a strip of fresh freesia cardstock. This is cut at 3/4 by 4 1/4. Then I have a 2.5-inch circle. This is using the layering circle dies. And then I have 2 of the squares. Now you're going to need a total of 7 of these squares, and these are all cut at 2 3/4 by 2 3/4. So we're going to make 2 together, so I can show you how to put the flowers together to create the flowers, and then we'll build the whole flower bouquet together. All right, so let me go ahead and put the card together first, and then we'll make the flowers. All right, okay, so I'm going to use my Memento ink. And these are the stamp sets I'm using. So for my flowers on the front of the card, I'm using the Color and Contour stamp set for these 2 right here. And then the greeting is from the Pansy Patch. And the greeting is, the little things you do make such a big difference. Isn't that beautiful? All right, so we're going to go ahead and stamp our greeting first onto the circle. I'm going to stamp it towards the bottom edge in this circle. Isn't that a pretty font? Look at that. Let me show you that up close. Isn't that pretty? All right, so let's go ahead and build our card. Okay, so now this is going to go onto the base, but it's going to be tilted slightly. But it should still fit on your 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch base. And then we're going to take our fresh freesia layer right here. And I did cut this a little bit longer so I get a perfect alignment on the base. So I'm just going to go ahead and put this onto the base, and then I'm just going to trim it down a little bit. My snips. Okay. Then we're going to pop this up on dimensionals. Put this right onto the front. Okay, let me grab my flowers. Okay, so here's my flowers, and I'm going to show you how I stamp those. Okay, so let me grab some scrap basic white, and let me grab my Memento ink again. And this time we're going to use the fresh freesia. So we're going to first stamp our outline of our stamp. Okay, so I'm going to stamp 2 of them. And then for my lighter shade of the fresh freesia, I went ahead and inked up my stamp, but then I stamped off just to kind of lighten up the color a little bit. So I stamped off. The stamp that colors in for the second step to the 2-step for the flower is like watercolor. So it's not really, it does line up, but it doesn't matter if it doesn't line up, I guess is what I'm trying to say here. But with it being photopolymer, you can see exactly right where it is. Okay, so that's what I did for the flowers. So then I used the scalloped contour dies, and I used this flower die to cut out the flower. Okay, and then this is also in that bundle with the color and contour. So you get these two together and you can save 10% when you purchase them as a bundle. So I've already went ahead and put dimensionals on the back of my flowers. So I'm going to go ahead and put both of these flowers on the front. So pretty. And then to finish it off, I'm going to add some rhinestones. Okay, now we're going to do the fun part, the explosion part of the flower bouquet. So let me grab my copy paper. Remember, you're going to need 7 squares cut at 2 3/4 by 2 3/4. And this is how you're going to make all of them. So we're going to make 2 together. So you're going to first fold your point to point. And you want to use your bone folder. Let me grab mine. This is going to make a really nice crisp edge. And that will look really nice when you're adding your ink to the center. And then you're going to fold it again, point to point. And we're using copy paper because you're folding it 3 times and it gets really pretty thick and bulky. Even though I did use the Shimmer Vellum, and I'll show you that one here when we get done making the flowers to show you a different variety of how to make these bouquets. But they're so cute. All right, so this is going to be one of our petals or one of our flowers for the bouquet. Okay, so now this is going to be the center point. So you got to remember where you're folding it. You could always unfold it to follow your point. But once you fold it in half, this is going to be the point. Then this is the point. And then this is the point. Okay, so you always want to remember where the point is because that's going to matter when we actually cut this piece. So let's go ahead and fold one more piece so you can see how to fold it. You're going to fold it point to point. And fold it point to point again. And then again. So 3 times you're going to fold it. Now this is my point right here. So this is the one we're going to go ahead and cut. Now when you're cutting, you want to have your opened end over on the left hand side or however you're cutting it. You just want to make sure that when you cut your petal that it's going to be like, remember when we were in grade school and you would cut like snowflakes and gingerbread men and you'd have them all connected. So you want to make sure that when you're cutting this petal or this flower that your opened end is on the left. And then you're just going to eyeball it. There's no certain pattern, but I will say once you get the pattern that you like, you're going to make a template with the other folds. And I'll show you what I mean by that. So you're just going to cut around just like that. Okay? So then you can open up your petal or your flower and see if the shape of the flower is the way you like it. And I love this shape. It looks like a heart, doesn't it? Okay, so then you're just going to go ahead and fold it back up. Now this is what I was saying about keeping this one for a template. So after you fold all of your other 6 triangles, you're going to take a pencil and then you're going to lay this petal onto your next triangle and you want to have it facing the same way. So here's the opened end right here and you want the same thing with your petal. So you have them facing the same way and then just line those up at the point down here and then take your pencil and draw that template for that petal or that flower that you want to cut out. So the idea is that you'll have all your flowers be the exact same size. Okay, so I went ahead and did all that, but I'm just going to go ahead and cut this one out. Okay, so then you can open it up, making sure that your flower is the way you like it. Okay, so now we have 2 flowers. So like I had mentioned, you're going to do all 7 flowers the exact same way. Okay, so then the next step, we're going to add our fresh freesia to the center of our flower. So let's grab our ink again. Okay, so this is my fresh freesia. And we're going to grab a sponge dauber. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to sponge just the center of my copy paper. And another reason you want to use copy paper too is because it's very lightweight and it's easy to fold, but it's not going to be so bulky when you're actually putting your bouquet of flowers inside of your card. So copy paper is the choice for making this bouquet. And you can also color your flowers, which I'll show you that here at the end when we put our flowers together. So you can take your dauber and you're just going to swirl it around the center. And you should end up with the score lines. Remember when I was saying about using your bone folder? The bone folder creases the copy paper so nice that when you're adding the ink to it, it kind of looks like your flower veins in the center. Isn't that beautiful? So we're just going to do both of them the exact same way, or all 7 of them the exact same way. Okay, so after we do that, then we're going to grab our paper snips. And we're going to remove one of our 8 petals. And it doesn't matter which one. I'm just going to cut on those fold lines to remove a petal. So now it should look like this. And you're going to do that to all 7 flowers. Okay, so now your flowers should look like this. Now you're going to grab your liquid glue. Liquid glue is going to be really good for this project. So what we're going to do is you're going to use a little tiny bit. I can't emphasize this enough because this is copy paper, and the copy paper does absorb the liquid of the liquid glue. So you want to kind of use it very sparingly. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add a little bit of the glue onto the petal, just like that. And then you're going to overlap this petal on top of where that glue is. So you're going to form your flower, and then so you formed your flower, and then you're just going to fold that flat, which you've already got the score lines that we folded that, so then just fold it flat just like that. Okay, then do the exact same thing to all of the other 6 petals. So line up your petal with the other one and then fold it down. And it doesn't matter which way you fold it, as long as it folds flat. Here's my 7 petals. These ones I just did. All right, now this is how we're going to build our bouquet of flowers for our explosion pop-up piece. So you're going to take one of your flowers and you're going to start that as the base. Okay, and then you're going to add just a touch of the liquid glue on the outside 2 petals, just like this. Let me zoom in a little bit. Okay, so you have your glue here and your glue here, and that's it. Then you're going to take 2 more petals, and you're going to take the same shape of the petal, and you're going to have your point go into this point here on the base, and you're going to line that up with that previous petal that has the glue on it. And you just have to hold it for just a couple seconds. Then take the other petal, one of the 7, and do the exact same thing. So taking this petal, you're going to line that up, making sure the points come together on your blossom of your bouquet of flowers. Now the next one we're going to lay down is going to be like the first one. So we have our 2 sides here. So on these 3 petals, we're going to take another dab of glue, very sparingly. And you're going to take another petal and you're going to lay that right across those other petals, gluing those down together. Then you're going to take your glue and only do the outside petals again. So you're building 2 layers of what we just did. So another layer of your petal on this side. Hear that down. And then this one goes on this side over here. Making sure your points line up in the center. And then the last one, which is your 7th petal or your flower, is going to finish it off by laying across it like we did when we first did it. So take your glue again and add another dot of glue on those top 3 petals. Hopefully this is showing up. And we're going to lay this petal across all of them. Okay, so now I would recommend that you let this set to dry, but for the sake of the video, I'm going to go ahead and put this inside of my card now. So now this is going to be one side of my card, and then this is going to be the other side. So these 2 pieces right here are the exact same thing, the way they're going in the same direction. So we're going to take our card and open it up, and then here, I'm going to zoom in again. You're going to take your bouquet of flowers and you're going to put your V shape towards the score line. But you're not going to put the flower right onto the score line. And you're not going to put it right in the center. You're going to move it up just a smidge. And I find that that's nice because then you have space to sign the card as well. You're just going to add a little dab of glue right here on the end on the center blossom or your center petal here. And then you're just going to go ahead and fold that over, making sure you're a little bit away from that score line. I'd say probably 1/8 to maybe even 1/4 of an inch away from the score line. And then you're just going to go ahead and fold that card front over and adhere that down. And I'm just going to hold that in place just for a couple seconds. Then we're going to open it up. We're going to do the exact same thing on this side. So this is our center petal. And we're going to add a little dab of glue on this side. And then close the back of the card and adhere that down. And that's it. Wait till you see the card when you open it. It's so beautiful. I would maybe put a clear block on this. That you want to make sure it adheres really nicely to the inside of the card, but we're going to go ahead and open it up. Now I'm just going to hold my flowers down so the glue is definitely in place, but look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Oh my gosh. Absolutely love it. And it looks like daisies. You can do the centers with any color you want, with daffodil or with, you know, pumpkin pie. Of course, the fresh freesia I did with the matching of the front of the card. But isn't that beautiful? And it explodes like that every single time. So beautiful. All right, so now let me show you the other ones that I've put together. Well, the center part of the flower bouquet. Let me show you those. Okay, so now here's one that I haven't finished yet, but it's using the Shimmery Vellum. And you can see it's very, very stiff, but it does work. But I'm going to give you a little heads up. It's very bulky because the vellum cardstock is a lot thicker than the copy paper, but you can do it. And then another thing, you might want to find another way to color the inside because I did add a little bit of the pale papaya with the classic ink, but it didn't take to it. So you might want to use a Stampin' Blend if you want to do that centering part of the flowers. And you can see the shimmer on the vellum. It's so beautiful, but it is a lot bulkier. So you want to keep that in mind if you want to use that. And then this is the way I did the pale papaya version here. So this is that one again. Remember I showed you this in the beginning. Now what I did for this is I took the copy paper, the same copy paper that I used for the white ones, and I just brayered over top of that with the pale papaya classic ink. So we had these brayers. These are the sponge brayers that we had. I think it was this past year we retired these. So if you have any brayer or the sponge brayer, or you could probably even use the blending brushes, but it would take a lot of time because you want to cover both sides of your copy paper when you're adding the ink to it. Because I find that when it opens up, there's no white showing from the other side. You know what I mean? So when I look at it from all the angles of my flowers, they're all with the pale papaya. So, but if you have a brayer, that's going to be your fastest way to color the copy paper. And then remember to color both sides. That's my little tip for you, all right? So then let me show you the other one that I did previous to filming today's video. This is with the fresh freesia. Isn't it pretty? Oh, I love it. And then I'll show you the card that inspired all of this. Let me show you that one. This is a card I got from Vickie Bueller. She sent me this card as a thank you, and I absolutely love it. She's using the hand-penned designer paper, and it was a thank you note, but look, she used the purple, the Highland Heather, as the ink with the copy paper. Isn't that beautiful? Oh my gosh, thank you so much, Vickie, for sending me the link to the directions and for your beautiful card. I absolutely love it. All right, so if you have any questions, please let me know. And I'll also have all the items listed down below for these 3 cards. And then also, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel so you don't miss any future videos. And then if you like today's video, give me a thumbs up. Okay, see you later. Bye.